All right, kiddos, we are going to do our wind and weathering science lab today. And it's talking about and mentioned how wind will wear down and weather rocky surfaces. And we have this question here that we're hoping to answer with our project. And the question is, how does the size of rocks and sand carried by the wind affect the weathering of Earth's rocky surfaces? And in this lab, our Skittles are going to be the rock, and our sandpaper is obviously the sand. So go ahead and write your hypothesis, what you think is going to happen. Pause the video and do that. Okay, now that you're back, make sure you have your supplies. So we have our Skittles, and we chose the same color just so that you can see the results of each one that are similar. We have our very rough, coarse sandpaper, and we have very fine sandpaper. So we are going to put those Skittles into each one, and we are going to shake it for 1 minute. Okay, so now that we have our supplies in, we are going to shake them for 1 minute and shake as hard as you can. Ready? Go. Okay, that's 20 seconds. Make sure you're putting your sandpaper so I get it straight on the bottom like that. 30 seconds. Get a good arm workout. 40 seconds. 10 more seconds. And stop. All right, now that we've shaken them for 1 minute, let's go ahead and see our results. Now leave it in there for a second, Alyssa. Let's look at the course first. So if we get up close to our course, okay, and we look at the Skittle, you can see it's a little bit scratched up. Okay, definitely some scratch marks on it. If we get closer to the fine, we can see a similar result in that they are very scratched up, but this one looks like the scratches are maybe a little bit more. If we put the Skittles side by side, let's flip them over, you can kind of see the difference with the scratch marks. Okay, so put them back into the jars and shake for another minute. Okay, so here is your results. So you should have already filled in your minute 1, and now we're going to do our observations for minute 2, and make sure you look at those. So open yours up, Alyssa, and let's go ahead and zoom in to make some observations. And again, this green one has quite a bit of scratches on it. And if we zoom in, oh, where? Oh, and you can see there's a little chip out of it too. Oh, there you go, now you can see it well. Okay, and then if we zoom in on the fine sandpaper, we can see similar. Okay, we see some little chips there, and you can definitely see some more scratch marks on it. So go ahead and fill in your results, and then let's go ahead and shake for another minute. Okay, so now you have finished your minute 2 observations and documents results. Now we're on to minute 3, and we just shook them again for 3 minutes. So we are going to take a peek at them, and you can see that the coarse one definitely, let's see if we can get a better shot of that. Can you hold it, Alyssa? The coarse one definitely has some little white chunks out of it, really scraped up. Okay, and then if we go to the fine one, I'm gonna get it. we can see, again, scraped up, but this one is not missing any chunks out of it. Maybe just one little tiny one. Okay, so go ahead and log your result. Okay, so with this project, one thing that I find interesting is we actually did it twice. Okay, and the first time we did it, the fine sandpaper Skittle had tons of chunks out of it and markings out of it, and the coarse one did not. And what we learn as scientists is that experiments sometimes get different results depending on the different variables. And here we had the same variables but had very different results. So the first time we did it, the fine sandpaper really messed up our Skittle and the coarse not so much. And on this one, the coarse one took chunks out of it more. But I would say that the fine sandpaper definitely scuffed up our Skittle a lot more. There's no shine left on the fine one at all. A little bit of shine on the coarse one. So I hope you guys had fun with this project and get ready to do some more tomorrow.